Hello, everybody. Welcome to True North Tuesday. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm so glad you're here. I'm looking for my incense. I just spent some time in quiet consultation with my inner self, aka meditation. Now I'm going to prepare my space. I've already lit my candle, and everything I'm going to light after a session, or as I start my session, I'm going to do it off that single flame. That's just a practice I have. Other people do it differently. You'll notice I'm not blowing, I'm shaking. I'm shaking it out. And I'm going to put this up here. Here's my candle. It's just a simple abundance candle. It doesn't have to be anything. You don't have to go out and buy fancy candles. I'm sure this was a fancy candle, but yay, I already see that a couple people are here. Hi, Lynn, and hi, Sherry. Welcome in. Some of my True North Founding Circle friends. So I'm so glad you're here. So let's get started. Before I get started, I want to share with you, I'm wearing a t-shirt from my merch. Can you see it? I'd stand up, but I'm in this little space here and my chair doesn't have wheels. I have a funny story about wheels and chairs. When I was student teaching, my classroom supervisor decided I should have a chair with wheels, but there was a new third grade teacher down the hallway that didn't have chairs with wheels. And she actually went to the principal and complained that I had a chair with wheels and she didn't have a chair with wheels. So ever since then, I've known the power of a chair with wheels. So today we're going to be talking about, why do you keep second guessing yourself? And what we're going to do is we're going to start rebuilding trust one quiet yes at a time. So hello, everybody. Welcome to True North Tuesday. If it's Tuesday, it's got to be True North Tuesday. I'm Laurie Lynnsee, and I am so grateful that you are here. And I'm also grateful that since last week, StreamYard has uploaded a different feature where I can see what's going on in the chat and what's going on my screen, and I don't have to click back and forth. So yay, StreamYard, yay. So Lynn wants to know what's in store for today. We're going to be talking about second guessing ourselves and how we can get over second guessing ourselves. So let's get started. Again, I'm so grateful you're here. Each week, we're going to explore the intersection of spirituality, intuition, science, and personal growth so that you can navigate your life with more clarity, confidence, and peace. We all want to be there, right? I'm along that path too. I may be a step or two ahead of you, but I still have moments in my life, like today. I know you're going to be shocked, but I had technical difficulties this morning. And you know what? It still lights me up. It still dysregulates my central nervous system. But the time it takes for me to get back to center is a lot quicker than it was a few years ago. So if you're joining me live, say hello. Many of you have already said hello. And if you'd like, you can share. Somebody just said, phew, I made it. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Belted Kingfisher 1111. I'm so glad you're here. And if you feel like you want to share where you're from, I would love to know. I would just love to know. And if you're catching this on the replay, I want to hear from you too. And I'm so excited that my comments are right here. I don't have to click around. Oh, I can't tell you what that has done for my central nervous system this morning. So today's question and conversation is something that we almost all need. I think we all do. Oh, it's Monica. Oh, my good friend Monica, that I've known for 40 years, I think. Why do we keep second guessing ourselves is the question we're going to be investigating today. But before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome. I want to share with you that I primarily work with midlife women who are ready to reconnect with themselves so that they can trust their intuition again, and they can regulate their central nervous system and live from inner wisdom instead of fear, people-pleasing, and self-doubt. Does that sound like any of you? Sounds like me sometimes. Because I truly believe you don't need to become somebody new. You simply need to remember the wisdom that's always been in you all along. So let me ask you, why do you have that feeling of, I knew it, I should have listened, I felt that way the entire time? And yet, We talk ourselves out of it. If that's ever happened to you, I would love to hear from you in the comments and know that you're not alone. And I don't believe it's because you lack intuition. I think it's because somewhere along the way, you learned not to trust it. And you know what? I'm going to talk about 4 things today that force us into that second guessing mode. You know what? We are born trusting ourselves. And as I was writing the script, I was thinking of my grandchildren. I have 3 grandchildren. The oldest one is 5.5. She's going to be in kindergarten this fall. I cannot believe it. And she trusts herself. She knows emotions. And, they live from an authentic place. They know when they're tired, and they know when they're hungry, and they know when something doesn't feel right. And they respond in an authentic way. You know what? They also know what brings them joy. But you know what? As we grow up, we slowly learn that other people's opinions matter much more than our inner knowing. And without realizing it, we begin to be disconnected from ourselves. And that doesn't mean that we're weak. And it doesn't mean that we're broken. But because we've adapted. So let's look at the 4 biggest reasons why we're second guessing ourselves. I just want to pop over into the comments. Sherry says all the time, fear of failure, like what happened in this past week. Yeah, that constant little voice in the back of our head. We're going to talk about that today. So first is criticism. Imagine hearing, "You're too sensitive." I've never heard that one. Lynnsee has never been told that in her entire life. People are saying it less to me now because I push back. You might have also heard, "You're imagining things. That didn't happen. You're overreacting." Maybe no one intended to silence your intuition, but after enough experiences like that, you're beginning to question your own perception. Does that sound like anybody you know? Instead of asking, "What do I know?" you begin asking, "What will everyone think?" And you know what? I had this exact situation this morning where I was thinking I really wanted to share something with somebody close to me. And that little voice inside of me said, "Well, what if they don't understand where I'm coming from? Or what will they think if they know this little secret inside of me?" I quickly got over it. But you can be regulating your central nervous system constantly and still have these questions come up. So it's not, what I teach is not about making your life perfect. It's about returning to that center spot where you can say, "I trust what I'm going to do moving forward." So all of these questions bring us to where self-doubt begins. Another thing that happens to us is trauma. And whether you believe it or not, if you live in America today in 2026, you have experienced trauma. Whether it's happening today or it's happened in the past, we all have experienced trauma. And trauma teaches our central nervous system that survival matters more than intuition. So your job, your central nervous system, is supposed to be scanning the environment, looking for things to keep you safe. That's its job. And we need it to do the job. However, 100, 200 years ago, we only used that when a buffalo was charging us or something was happening and it was urgent and we needed to act on it. And that was called fight or flight. But guess what? We're living in fight or flight, scrolling TikTok or YouTube or Facebook. And when you're living in survival mode, your brain becomes focused on danger and looking out for yourself. It's looking for approval, predictability, and keeping everyone happy. Does that sound like anybody you know? Your intuition and its voice has not disappeared. It's simply getting buried beneath the noise of staying safe. And again, you need your central nervous system. You need it working properly. You need it scanning the environment to keep you safe. That eerie feeling you're having when you're entering a quiet building and you feel like, "Oh, something's not right here," you need that. But you also need to be able to make decisions. You can't live in fight, freeze, fawn. You can't live there because your brain will just go nuts. You know, many people tell me, "I think I lost my intuition," or "I don't have an intuition. I can't hear what's going on." And I don't think that they're lost at all. I think that their nervous system has simply learned to prioritize protection. And these are regular people. These are people that are your best friends. They're your sisters. They're your daughters. They're your aunts. They're your grandmas, your mothers. We're all experiencing this right now. The next thing is overstimulation. And boy, are we being overstimulated in America today. Our world has become incredibly loud. We have notifications on our phone. Now think about that. 10 years ago, did you have a phone in your back pocket? Were you getting notified all day long while you were at work because somebody sent you a text? Or this one I love, breaking news. Is it really breaking news? Because every day on MSNBC, and I haven't watched that in maybe a year now because I've given up the news, but everything is breaking news. No matter what news source you're watching, everything is breaking news. It used to be we bombed Pearl Harbor. That was breaking news. And now, it's stupid stuff like the president fell asleep. Yeah, that's important, but is it breaking news? That sets us into a mindset of, oh my gosh, something's happening. I got to know. I got to sit here. I got to absorb it. You don't need to absorb it. You do not need to absorb it. Another thing is social media. And you might say, well, I just watch cute little videos about cats and dogs. You're consuming information and it's getting in your head. There's that constant comparison. And you know what? As a woman in her late 50s, I am done with constant comparison. I'm never going to be the ideal beauty in America. First of all, I have brown hair and I have glasses, and I'm only a little over 5 feet tall, and I'm considered obese. Yes, well, maybe not obese anymore, but overweight. And I think I look pretty damn hot compared to what I did a year and a half ago. So I think that's bogus. I think it's bogus. I'm not going to compare myself who's airbrushed and looks perfect and has somebody doing their makeup and somebody cooking their food. Don't compare yourself, because that leads to that fight or flight kind of mentality. And you know what? We're also seeking endless opinions. And you might not say, well, I'm not calling people and getting their opinions, but you're watching another video on how to regulate your central nervous system. I'm watching another video on how to stop guessing myself. You need to learn something about trusting yourself, so you don't have to continue to rely on someone else. And that's what I offer. You know what? When every moment is filled with outside input, it's difficult to hear what your mind, body, and soul are trying to tell you. You know what? Intuition rarely shouts. And if you follow me, you probably hear me say that every time we're together. It's not Hollywood. Intuition whispers. The quieter you become, the easier it is to heal. So let's also talk about chronic self-doubt. No, none of you have that. I don't have that. No. We all have it. Perhaps this is the hardest habit to break because we've been conditioned. It's believing someone else is that somebody else believes that they know better for us. That's not true. So you know what? We're asking 5 friends their opinion, and we're watching 10 YouTube videos on something random. We're reading 20 articles, hoping and praying that this one will have the answer and I will be able to feel clarity and serenity in my life. You know what? We might even pull some tarot cards, and after that, we usually end up doing what our heart told us in the first place. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed it? I'm looking over into the chat, and someone has said, I keep looking for clarity or external confirmation. That is a woman in America today. Thank you for sharing that. I really, really believe that, because we have been trained and conditioned to look for outside input before we make a decision. And our soul doesn't operate that way. Our intuition doesn't operate that way. Our mind and body connection does not operate that way. The answer is often there the very first second you encounter something. It's the overthinking that comes later. I just had somebody pop up in the chat and it said, I asked my guides to show me a traffic light for confirmation. I love that. No is red, yellow is maybe, and green is a yes. And that's perfect. You can ask your spirit guides, your ancestor, Jesus, God, whoever you pray to, whoever you follow in your spiritualism or religion, you can ask for confirmation on things. That's okay. That's a good thing. But also trust in that answer and trust in, having that confirmation. Trust it. So many people imagine intuition as feeling exciting. Here we go, Hollywood, dramatic, like a bolt and a loud thunder from the gods. Or they feel like it's overwhelming, like it's just going to literally push you off your feet. Yeah, sometimes that happens with intuition, but that's Hollywood. That's the movies. That's what we've been trained to expect. But in my experience, it usually feels simple and quiet, steady, almost ordinary, like this is how it's supposed to be. But you know what? Our ego wants certainty. Intuition offers us peace. And if we trust our intuition, we can find that serenity. The ego often says, what if I'm wrong? And intuition says, let's go this way. Let's follow this path. Let's do a simple practice together. And I'd like you just to take a moment, and I want you to place one hand over your heart. And it doesn't matter which one hand over your heart. I want you to take a slow, deep breath in and really come into your center and breathe. Then breathe in again and slowly breathe out. And now I want you to ask yourself something. What do I already know that I've been afraid to admit? What do I already know, but I'm afraid to admit? Because you've had so many opinions and so many second guesses. What do I already know that I'm afraid to admit? Don't force an answer, just simply notice. Maybe a word appears for you, maybe an image, maybe a feeling, whatever comes. Just thank it, appreciate it. You don't have to act on it today. Just simply acknowledge what came through. You know what? Every time we honor that quiet inner voice inside of us, it strengthens our relationship with ourselves. I'm going to say that again. Every time we trust our inner voice, it strengthens the relationship with ourselves. And that's how self-trust is rebuilt. Think about your muscle. If you never use your muscle, what happens? What happens to that muscle? It just goes, or if you have a disease like CMT, if I don't constantly, not constantly, but every day make a commitment to stretch and do some sort of exercise, my disease will be on a rapid pace rather than a slow progression. I have to remember to use my muscles. You may not have something like that, but you still should be using your muscles. And using your muscles builds strength. And it's going to happen one quiet yes at a time. So I would love to hear from you if you have something you'd like to say in the chat. What made you stop trusting yourself? Was it trauma? Was it too much input from the world? Was it conditioning? Was it, all the things that I just shared? Feel free to share in the chat if you're live or if you are just watching the replay. It could be criticism. It could be a painful event that happened that you just no longer trusted yourself again. Were you told that you were wrong? If I had $1 for every time I was told I was doing something wrong, I'd be a trillionaire. Because everybody seems to have an opinion, especially the non-woo-woo people have a lot of opinions about us woo-woo people. And you know what? Over the years of putting everyone else's needs ahead of our own, has that happened to you? That also causes us to not think of ourselves and not have a relationship with ourselves. So share as much or as little as you would like in the comments. But your story may be exactly what somebody else needs to hear today. And Sherry said in the comments, conditioning. I think that's so true for so many of us. Whether we want to believe it or not, our society assigned us roles at birth. And as a woman, we were assigned to have have babies and be the organizer of a family. We don't lead the family. Heaven forbid we lead the family, because that can cause problems too. But we were told that our place was second best, or that we needed a job to, our job needed to be less important than our spouses, or we needed to make less money. And our job was to work all week, 40 hours a week, and come home and take care of the house, cook dinner, get our kids to sports, do all the things. And our husbands come home and they sit on the couch, and they can be the best husband in the world, but they've also been conditioned to be the man. And we've been conditioned to be the woman. So I'm learning to take up space and know that my voice is important. Amen, sister girlfriend. I love that. I have that posted right here. Right here. It says, take up space and don't let anybody tell me any different. And I just had an argument with somebody yesterday and told them, I'm sorry, but I'm taking up space here and I'm going to say what I want to say. And yeah, some people have said goodbye to me in the last few years, and that's okay. That is totally okay, because they no longer align with me. But I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Sherry says, my woo-woo is poo-pooed. You're hanging out with the wrong folk. So I'm glad you're hanging out with us, Sherry. I'm glad you're hanging up, or hanging out, not hanging up. Don't hang up. Don't hang up. So if today's conversation resonated with you, I invite you to continue this journey with me throughout the week. So on Mondays, we have Meditation Monday, and that's where we experience what we're talking about for the week. And we don't simply understand what our theme is for the week, but we actually go through it as guided practice. And then we have the Inner Compass podcast, which I put out later in the week. This week's Inner Compass podcast is on the science of intuition. And last week it was the Mandela effect. What is science and the woo-woo community saying about the Mandela effect? The week before that was glitches in the matrix. So go ahead and go onto my website and find them, or find them on YouTube. And I've also posted them on Facebook. I also have a weekly newsletter where I do some compass teaching, and that also fits the theme for the week. I'm excited. Next month, July, we're going to be talking about the head-heart connection, the coherent heart, and the field that science has proven, I just hit my drink over here, that the aura that's outside of our body is actually detectable by science now. Can you believe it? I'm so excited. They're finally catching up. So if you're looking for a community where curiosity is welcomed, intuition is honored, and personal growth happens one step at a time, I'd love for you to join us. And you'll find all the links for all of this in the description. So Meditation Monday, the Inner Compass podcast, my weekly newsletter, classes, and coaching resources. And if this conversation encouraged you today, please take a moment to like this live stream, subscribe to my channel, or follow me on Facebook, and share with someone who might need to hear this reminder. Those are simple actions that help this message reach more people who are learning to trust themselves again. And I call it the ripple effect. It's not just us sitting here right now. It's also people out there that need to hear the message too. And if you'd like to support my work that I'm creating, you can also support me and this channel through buymeacoffee.com/Laurie Lynnsee. And every contribution helps continue me creating free resources for this beautiful community. I'd also love to hear from you. Leave your questions and comments, or email me at Laurie@laurielynnsee.com. And your questions may inspire a future True North Tuesday or a podcast. I'm just going to jump over just a moment to the comments. Ego seeks certainty. Intuition seeks calm. Those are wise words, Miss Lynn. Those are wise words. Thank you for sharing that. So until next time, keep listening to that quiet inner voice. It's been guiding you far longer than you realize. So until next time, until next Tuesday, keep following your inner compass. And I'm going to stay on just a little while longer to see if anyone else has questions or comments in the chat. Also, if you like my t-shirt, it says True North on it. And I have a mug back here. And some people on this live right now have purchased my merch. But this cute cup, it says True North. And it has my favorite tea on it from Market Spice Tea from Pike Place Market. Pike Place Market in Seattle. Some of my other merch is Let's Try Matriarchy. You can get a t-shirt that says Let's Try Matriarchy. Come on, let's try it. And then what's my other one? Oh, your intuition isn't woo, it's wisdom. So those are the three kind of themes that are in my merch. And you can go on my website to find those. So yes, Lynn, I appreciate that you say that. She said, thank you for your guidance. And you know what, Lynn, you give me just as much guidance as I give you. Sherry, thank you. And I love you. I love you too, Sherry. I love you, Lynn. I love you, Monica. I love everybody. I love everybody who is joining us today. Today is a great day. I might have woke up with, being upset about my office space, and there was an error in the lease, and I spent 2 hours talking to them and renegotiating things, but I managed to come on and regulate my central nervous system, and you can do it too. You can do it too. Lynn says, love the new merch. Gonna get me some. I'm glad. So yeah, my t-shirts. I love my t-shirts. I actually sell them at vendor events too. So, okay, I'm going to say goodbye because at 12:30, I jump on one of my colleagues' meditations, and we do some breathing exercises. And it's a great way for me to come down and regulate my central nervous system after being with all of you. Remember, it's a daily decision to regulate your central nervous system. So love and light. I hope you're all having a blessed day. And now I got to figure out how to end it. This is me. This is the authentic Laurie Lynnsee. Have a great day.